Where they sending for me, oh Lord, I am neither one nor the other. 6 or one, half a dozen or the other. Well, if they're sending back Indians and Negroes for true, you got to split me in two. Hope you see good mediation. And then, let me give you 2 examples of the mediator's advice. Sometimes, what Californians do, after mediating, sometimes they don't present 2 arguments. They just sum up the thing, sum it up, and they give you the answer. So Sparrow in 1962 came up with the answer after Jamaica had the referendum. And they were saying, should we support the federation or not? And you know, Sparrow gave them the Calypso of the year, 1962. If they know, they know. Yeah, better key. People know. If they know, they didn't want federation. And they know they don't want to unite as one. Then tell the doctor you're not in favor. Don't behave like a blasted traitor. This is no time to say you are federating no more. Summing it up. What a beautiful Calypso. C.L.R. James says, it is the best academic paper ever written on the Federation. He didn't say Calypso, huh? He said the best academic paper. All the brothers in Urea is telling that the best academic paper ever written on the Federation. And then, way back in history, when Cipriani was fighting against Major Ross, back an half or so, this is quite in 1924, with the first election in Trinidad and Tobago. And here the Calypsonian. Young man, who you voting for? Cipriani. Young man, who you voting for? Cipriani. We don't want Major Ross to make back the rest of here. Cipriani. In other words, he didn't sum it up already. So many times Calypsonians sum up the whole thing and then they give you. Uncle Sam, Chagaramas. Should we have Chagaramas? Should we get back our land? Yes, no. Should we march? Yes or no? And then here's the Calypsonian. Listen, Uncle Sam, we want back we land. Soon we will be a great nation. We are going to be prosperous. So we want back Chagaramas. So many times he sums it up already and he gives you the answer. You may not like his answer. By the guts of Christ, he may be wrong, but he gives you his answer. So in reparation time, should we have reparation? Should Africans have a reparation? We sum it up already. I want my grandfather back pay. You see how long we singing them thing? They owe me grandfather back pay. That is 1986. Mr. Galton D. Nobrega, Mr. Booth, Huggins, and Fletcher fill their bank books and build their empire from the sweat of my grandfather. And my grandfather worked like a horse. It was blood, sweat, tears, and brute force. No house, no land, no bank book, no pension to leave for his grandchildren. I want my grandfather back pay. They owe my grandfather back pay. You know, it's now this year they're talking about back pay for grandfathers. CARICOM, it now reached CARICOM in 2014, and the Calypsonians singing that in 1986. Just like in 1957, they were arguing about Port of Spain is so overcrowded, Port of Spain is ram, etc. And Caruso sing, the problem with here in Trinidad is that no room to hold all their motor car. And that is 1957. Now they started, as if he was alive today, and he see motor car. He said, the trouble with here so far, this place overcrowded with motor car, 1957. Similarly, there were big arguments with Caruso, and they were arguing about criminals. What do you do with criminals? What, especially carnival time? What do you do with them? People were saying, jail them. Some were saying, fine them. If you are wrong, you'll remember that. Jail them, fine them. Jail them, fine them. And then up comes Caruso, And Caruso sing, when talking about bad, it is I who mad with them criminals that we have here in Trinidad. And chorus, when the police hold them and they arrest them, do not fine them, do not imprison them, send them in the square, let everybody be there, beat them with the cat, all who see bound to done with that. Public plugging. You know, they are taking Caruso's advice. We don't have no criminals today. At least you might have less, because Max Weber said you must have criminals. And then there was an argument finally. Let me give you a final argument. In the 70s, there was a final argument that was saying that postmen thieving money, they charge people thieving money. And then they said the postmen, they are not delivering the letters. That was in the 70s, etc. And some postmen were charged for opening packets, etc. And people were saying that the postmen have no education, etc. They can't read, etc., etc., etc. That's why, and so on. And then up came Penman, who is now dead. Penman says, the answer for that, let me mediate. The answer for that is to put all the Phillips in Phillips Street. Put all the Kokarams in Kokaram Street. Put all the Sings in Sing Street. Beautiful, eh? Thinking. And then Killer also had an example. Killer said the problem is not that. Killer come up with an example. Killer says, here's the problem. Well, a black, I can't get a good key. Well, a black woman name is white, and a white woman name is black, and a good woman name is green. It's the funniest thing I've seen. And a brown skin woman named Blackhead make me laugh till I'm nearly dead. And a brown skin woman named Gray, that is what have the whole world confused today. He may be right. My mind goes back to 90. If you think we started this thing in the 40s or 50s or 60s, a true story is that in 1903, let me give you a history now. You know, history is my bag. In 1903, following the Red House fire, they charged a man for a soldier bayoneted a woman. Pushes bayoneted her, and she died. And they held the wrong man. Check the history. They held the wrong man. And the Calypsonians sang. And after the Calypsonians sang, they held the right man. And the Calypso was lawyers at the bar, 1903. We must form a deputation. Jurors of the land, not to a pit holder. Holder is the guy, that's the murderer. We must try him for murder. He must die in Carrera. Perry waiting with the rope to break him manima. And he was tried, he was held, and he was found guilty through the power of the Calypsonian. You hear who was the man in charge of the prison in them days? A fella called Perry. How we know it? Through the Calypso. Finally, those of us who lived through the war knew that in 1942, 41, 42, we had the control board. And the control board was under a guy called Louis Spence, a white guy. And he was distributing all the food. You know, you had to line up for food. You had to have ration cards. And you had to get your ration card and go up for food. I remember it well. Why? Because I was a little boy. I wasn't born, I was just born. But I remember that my mother used to send me with the ration card. And when I come back, she changed the pants and send me back again. So I could get more food. That's all 47, 48, eh? And so Louis Spence was charged for nepotism, for giving his friends more food than others. And people were saying it's time to get rid of the control board, because the control board is biased. And there was a big argument. And then comes the Calypsonian. And here the Calypsonian, executor. The government food distribution has reached a scandalous proportion. If they give me the authority, I'll settle this question immediately. For it is the essence of common sense to dispense with spence at any expense. That a beautiful doctrine. It is the essence of, Italian lawyers could talk English, you know. It is the essence of common sense to dispense with spence at any expense. And after that, what I would do, I would appoint a board to control the control board. So that what I want to leave you here with this afternoon is to say that in your mediation, use the calypso. Materials for mediation, the gentleman before me said it. Materials for mediation, materials for language, materials to train with, material academic papers. So many of our students look at the calypso and starting to jump up and fret. So many of them don't see the language. So many of them don't see how beautiful they use it. How those boys, even without education, use this language. And they're quoting Shakespeare. People delivering papers, they're always quoting Shakespeare, Wiley, Sweden, all about the place. Quoting people nothing wrong with that. Quote the Calypsonian. Why? Because when you use the calypso, you're using it in an area they could understand. It is surrounded with culture. And when you use it and you use the culture, then what's going to happen? The coaches will better understand because they understand the culture. For example, here Valentino. Valentino never went to secondary school, but let me leave you with Valentino. He says, when Ash Wednesday come and pass, the people just go back to the race and class. So the only thing to keep Trinidadians is mass. You think Shakespeare could write that? God bless you all.
I think we owe these gentlemen another round of applause, please. Like I said at the beginning of the session, that at this time we may have an opportunity for questions, clarifications, and comments. I think when the program was designed, we pretty much realized that this probably could have been the most entertaining session for the afternoon. There should be a roving mic around that I hope, or if you can probably speak loud. Yes, there's one coming. So if you're willing to share, even state how much you have enjoyed this session and make some comments regarding that we still may need this kind of commentary and song that discusses political and social issues, other types of issues, that really does the first thing or second thing in the mediation five-step process. It highlights the issues, it raises our awareness, our consciousness, and then it challenges us to do something about it. So
I just wanted to say that one of the sad things about the Calypso in recent times is that because a lot of Calypsonians let us say, are not prepared to spend their money to make a CD or to record a song, you can only hear them if you go to the tent. And as a result, you have nothing being left behind for posterity. So, in recent years, for example, I have not heard on the radio, now I know the stations may not play it in any event, but in any event, there needs to be a continuation. It's like somebody doing a painting, or they're writing a book, whether it sells a copy or not. There needs to be, maybe the government has to find some way to provide a fund to encourage Calypsonians to continue to record. Because I don't listen to the foolishness that passes for soca at the moment. My days for jumping up unwinding our past. Whether or not that is because I don't want to do it or because I can't do it, more likely than not is because I can't do it anymore. And that's the only reason I had to retire and hurt.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, I was trying to expose my children to Shadow's song, Janet. You know that song? Janet! That song? Who is that by the door? The man in the sailor cap. So I'm telling them about it. They can't find it. They can't find it on the internet.
Yeah.
And unless you are going to the tent, in which case you will hear the song once, you will not hear it again. You cannot get the lyrics for it. So you keep going back to find something that was recorded by Chalky or by Shadow or by Sparrow in 20 years ago. But in the last more than 10 years, I think, more like 15, it seems to me that you cannot get recordings of music, whether it's compilations or one person putting out an album. So that is affecting the culture being passed down.